Hey guys, welcome back to Witch Baby Wednesdays, where I talk about my experience as a new witch and really just finding my way through witchcraft and all the craziness, and that is exactly what this video is about. So if you yourself are a witch baby or witch curious, or if you've just been following me for a while and like this new turn I've taken, here is today's video: finding your own way in witchcraft. So I first just want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching these Witch Baby Wednesdays. Literally, this is the second technical video, but I did do another video on being a witch before I created this. So this is my third video on being a witch, and even though my subscriber base is just slightly going down, it's still going. It's like I'm losing subscribers and gaining subscribers, and it's kind of starting to, the scale is starting to tip back again, because I know that I've taken this turn and people are like, well, what the F is going on? Some people, and some other people are like, hell yeah. But these videos, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure these videos are the fastest growing videos in the history of my channel. And I'm loving the response to these videos. I think it's awesome. I love that you guys are loving it. I love that you loved last week's video so much, and just keep watching and keep sharing. There's a lot of people out there that are getting into witchcraft right now. There is a big call to wake the witch. And I think right now, more than ever, this is really necessary. And I thought about it. It is actually becoming a trend, but it is sort of, you know, somebody on my channel, somebody had commented last week on that video mentioning that it's not necessarily a trend, but it's more that people are just like speaking out about it. I think it's a little bit of both, because I know a lot of people that are now witches and weren't witches before, were just sort of on a spiritual path and now are on the path of witchcraft. And what I noticed is that the one thing that witchcraft has that just a typical path of spirituality doesn't necessarily have, and I'm not saying it doesn't have it, but you know, whatever, that's my own opinion, is this power in the darkness, right? And so I think right now we're in pretty dark times overall as a collective. Of course, there's also really light times happening, but we're in some pretty dark times, and there's a lot drudging up. There's a lot of shifts happening for all of us. I mean, really, the collective is crazy, all right? It's really crazy. So, you know, I think that for me, this round of darkness that I've been in, I'm coming out of it as a witch. And it's almost like I needed, not that I needed to go into that darkness to find witchcraft, but there was some really beautiful synchronicities that led me here. And I think that also that the divine feminine needs to really wake up and be empowered and really come into this world and this life. And so my advice to any of you that are coming into witchcraft, especially as women, but also just as any gender and transgender and every gender in between, want to be all inclusive here, but as any gender and any, you know, we all need to wake that divine feminine within us. But I think women especially, because we are the physical embodiment of the divine feminine, what I would recommend to you, and of course you could take this or leave it, if it really feels like it ignites you, then go for it. If it doesn't, then it's just not for you. Start, whether it's you start praying to, you start summoning, you start reading up on, but start looking into goddesses and goddess energy. That would be a recommendation from me. I feel like you know, I come from a Christian background, way back, Christian Catholic background, and also like reading A Course in Miracles. There's so many religions and spiritual, even mysticism, like A Course in Miracles, that talks about God as a he. And it doesn't necessarily mean that God is a he, it's just a reference, but the fact that they don't say he and she is a little bit strange. So For me personally, I feel like I need a good long soak in praying to the she God, right? The she aspect of God. Whatever you believe, but just take that. Okay, so today I really want to talk about how to find your own way in witchcraft, because witchcraft and the religion of paganism and just the occult in general is so deep and so confusing, and there's just some of it's even conflicting. There's so much of it, and there's also so little of it, because throughout our history, witches were burned and hanged, or and everything. Because of that, what happened was witches had to start hiding their material. They needed to start hiding. So I have what's called a grimoire, or a book of shadows, or a book of spells. You may have seen something like that. And I will share that in a later video. I'll give you guys a little look inside my grimoire. I just started it, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, a month or two ago, I don't know. But it's really fun. But that is where we keep all of our secrets and our spells. And, a lot of information got split up and had to be passed down over the centuries. So there's really not, from the age-old time, there's really not like a manual. There's not a book. There's none of that. But it's also super divine. So my witch sisters right now are telling me it was designed that way. The reason the reason a great deal of the information was lost was because they want you to find it intuitively. And so that's what being a witch is. And, it can get really confusing and it can get really overwhelming. And so I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. I want you to be able to start practicing witchcraft today. Like the day that you start, I want you to feel confident in yourself as a witch, even if you're a baby witch, I want you to be able to start tapping into and utilizing your own magic right off the bat. We all have that ability, and so don't be so intimidated by the study of witchcraft. Now, I know that in the Wiccan religion, I'm pretty sure you have to be studying at least like a year to even be considered a witch. And correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm not Wiccan. I do follow some of the Wiccan practices, but I'm not like devout Wiccan all the way, I'm much more of an eclectic witch, and as of now, a solitary witch just means I'm on my own. But that's the study of witchcraft. And so for all of you solitary witches out there, this is definitely going to help you. Now, I want you to get the books. I want you to get, all of the books that you feel called to. Go look up every witchy book you can find. Go look up the hashtag witches of Instagram and see what books they're reading. I can maybe do a video. I don't really have that many books, but I can do a video on some books on witchcraft that you guys can maybe start out with, or at least the books that I've read, or maybe I can start to do reviews on books on witchcraft and such. But as of right now, find the information, the first bit of information you can find, and just start there. But as far as who you are and what you practice, I want to give you some tips for that. So, witch, the word itself actually means wise one. So, it essentially means that you have wisdom from deep within you. So embody that, right? Unleash your own power to follow your own guidance, right? So you're gonna read a lot of information that you're gonna be like, what in the world? And maybe later down the line, you'll learn what things mean, and you'll learn that like certain herbs are for certain things, and yada, 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 yada. But the best way to do any spell of any kind, and the best way to do any type of witchcraft, is to follow your own guidance. What that means is, even though you might look online and you can't find any money spell that has anything to do with chocolate. But for some reason, chocolate feels really rich to you. This is something that I've done. Now, of course, there are money spells for there's hot chocolate money spells that you can do, but usually I've seen a lot of spells and none of the ingredients are usually like cinnamon. I'm pretty sure allspice is one for money and abundance. For me, chocolate feels really rich, and especially I don't know, it just any kind of chocolate, so I ended up putting chocolate in my Money Mojo bag because that meant something to me. It wasn't because anybody told me that anything meant anything, right? So if a spell calls for using, I don't know, a red string because that represents love to somebody else, maybe a red string represents power to you. Maybe that color red feels powerful to you. Listen to your own guidance. And so there's this magical balance of reading the information, finding what feels best to you and following that, but throwing it then all away and listening to what feels best to you. So when it comes to ingredients, you could today, not even knowing how to do a spell, you could today create your own spell by saying, okay, what do I want to achieve here? What is it that I want to create in my life? Or even if you have a problem, it really doesn't matter. You could just say, what do I want to create in my life? And you could think about things. Maybe I want abundance. Maybe I want physical beauty. Whatever. You could think of anything, and you could go outside or you could go buy your favorite flower because that flower looks beautiful to you, and you could use, because your intuition just says, I don't know, you don't have to know, but if your intuition just says, I don't know, I just love this flower, I think it's so stunningly beautiful. Or if you have a portrait, sometimes I'll look online and I might be on Instagram and there might be a picture or a drawing of a flower that I think is so stunningly beautiful and it makes me feel beauty. It actually makes me feel beauty. I would bring that into my spell work and I would just use it the way I felt it was meant to be used. That's what spell work is. It's you just, whatever the meanings of things are today, it's because some witch far before you said that that's what it meant, and then all the other witches agreed to that. But it's because he or she's intuition told her so, and she followed it. And so to be a witch for you and for me is to follow your guidance. It's to understand, you're already able to, if you're a natural born witch, which I haven't told any of you guys this yet, but from what I've read, all natural born witches, which would be like me, how I feel like I just am a witch, and yes, I've come into witchcraft, but I feel like I've always been a witch. If you are a natural born witch, all natural born witches are empaths. That's just for all my rockin' empaths that follow me. So if you are an empath, you actually might be a witch. Now, that doesn't mean all empaths are witches, but all natural born witches are empaths. It doesn't mean that all witches are empaths either. Some people just like to practice witchcraft and aren't actually natural born witches, but I think that that's just an interesting thing. So you could go outside, take a walk in nature. You understand how things feel. You know how to read things. So tune into nature. Tune into the song of a bird. Is it a crow? How does a crow make you feel? Maybe you can bring something that represents that crow into your spell work. Maybe you find a feather on the ground and you figure out that that feather is the feather of a blue jay. And you could even Google and look up, okay, what does a blue jay mean? What does that represent? Oh, this is perfect. I can use this for, this spell that I want to create. And then just save all that stuff in like a little box and use it later. Now, you also have the ability when you do spells to not use any ingredients and only use the one ingredient that is you and your own mindset. And you could tune into something. So when I did a spell on my house, y'all, I need to tell you guys seriously about the spell that I did on my house Because if you've been following me for a long time, you know that my greatest challenge in my life, what it used to be that my house was always messy. But I did a spell, and trust me, I've done everything. I've done EFT, I've done the visualizing, I've done all of that. None of it worked until I did a spell. So when the spell that I did was, I sat in meditation and I just connected with my house. I used the energy healings that I already know because I've been trained in energy healings. I used those and I created that spell for myself. I set the intention to bring my magic into my home and connect with the home. I asked my home, what is your name? She gave me a name. I heard a name because I chose to let the world go and lean back onto my intuition. Lean onto my intuition. That's what we do. We pull back from the world and we lean on our intuition. So another way, and one thing I really, really want to express to you is how to tune into your own magic. So each and every one of us has our own magic. It is not this mystical, mythical thing that you have to know witchcraft in order to tune into. It is this. The things that you're really good at, that's your magic. The things that you love doing, that's your magic. So I am a singer-songwriter. I am also a writer, a poetic writer. I play music. I decorate my home. I'm really effing good at that. I'm extremely creative. I am a creatrix. Those aspects of me, I'm really good at articulating vocally. I'm a really good dancer. There's so many things that I'm really good at. That's my magic, okay? So use the magic you already have. Use the talents and joys that are already within you. And trust me, you're good at something. So I don't want to hear any of you be like, well, I'm not good. Yes, I guess you could say I'm like multi-talented when it comes to how people view what multi-talented is. I'm artistically multi-talented. Yes, I shoot all these videos, I edit them, I do all of my branding. I also am really good at business, things like that. But it's both what comes easily to you and what you love to do. Where you feel that passionate energy, where you feel that expressive energy, that is you bringing your magic into the physical world. That is your magic. Use that for your spells. Use that for your craft and your spell work. There are spells and witchcrafts for every type of magic you could possibly think of. If you're someone that just likes to visualize and that's all you want to do because that's what you're really good at, use that. If love is your power and your strength, use that. If you're really good at, I don't know, like anything that you're really good at, use that. Bring that, like if you read a spell online or in a book or something, read the spell and then ask your intuition, how can I bring my own personal magic into this spell? And I would recommend, of course, I speak only for myself as a solitary witch. I don't speak for any other witches or witchcraft as a whole, but kind of. But I would not do any spells until I have asked my own intuition that question. I just wouldn't. Another good question is like, how can I make this fun? Take a spell and ask Source, how can I make this fun? Ask yourself, how can I make this fun? Because where your bliss goes, that is also your magic. Your bliss. That blissful feeling, that's your magic. Okay? So follow that. Follow that, follow that, follow that. Okay? So I want to just give you because here comes my left brain stuff. I want to give you just a couple of tips. I basically just rounded it all off here, but I want to give you a couple of tips for some actionable things that you can do in order to utilize this and put this into practice, if that makes any sense. What I would do is in your book of shadows or in your grimoire or whatever, I would write down a list of all the things that you love doing that you're good at, that come easily for you, how you contribute to the universe, to the planet, all of that. What makes you you and unique, and the things that you love about yourself that makes you you and unique. And right at the top, this is my magic. Or even write something like, I activate my magic, and write that down, and then put it on your altar and say a little prayer. Cast your circle. I will do a video on how to cast a circle later. Cast your circle, bring in the elements, bring in everybody you need help with, and especially bring in yourself. Read that list down. I'm giving you a spell right now. Write this shit down. Read that list. Feel the energy of what it feels like to do that, and then imagine it just like powerfully pouring into that page, so that every time you touch that page, you remember who you are, you remember your magic. And you can even get like a totem, right? Something, you could put it into a crystal. You can imagine that energy powerfully going into a crystal, a totem. I have rings on. You could use a ring, something that maybe you'll wear. Really, you could use anything that feels like magic to you, that you just connect with deeply. Imagine that power going into that, and then make that crystal your magic activating crystal. Put it in a very special place. Maybe put it in a box, something like that. And every time you need. Do you see what's happening right now? I'm intuitively creating a spell for you. I didn't read this anywhere. I'm just making this up because I'm a creatrix, so I can easily create spells. That's part of my magic. But put this in a nice little box. Put it in a beautiful bag, or something. I collect all these beautiful little baggies. And make that your magic activating crystal. And every time you need a reminder of who you are, or before every spell you do, hold that and feel the power of it. Got it? And when you close that circle, ask for Source to encapsulate the energy of your magic into that, right? Ask for Source, for whoever you bring in, right? Goddesses, whoever you bring in, it doesn't matter, whatever feels best to you. Ask them to help you, the elements even, because they're so neutral, that's perfect. Ask them to help you encapsulate your magic into this, and set the intention that every single time you touch that crystal, that your magic will be activated again, meaning you'll just remember it, So there's the good one. That one definitely came off the top of the dome. And then the other one, because you will read tons, oh, that feels so good. Can we just take a moment? That feels really good, what I just did. Everybody just take a moment. Just take a moment. Feel that, feel that. Go grab a pen and paper, write it down, or just watch till the end of the video and remember what time it is now and come back and watch this. But you need to remember this. Save this video, share it with your friends. Come on. Okay. Oh, that feels so good. I love it. I love it. So the next thing is, you're going to be reading probably tons of books on witchcraft, right? You're going to be finding things online. You're going to be maybe Pinterest. Pinterest is my place to be when it comes to witchcraft. There's going to be a lot of things that you like, and there's going to be a lot of things that you don't like. There's going to be some things that turn you off. There's a book that I'm reading right now that I love. I love this book. They started talking about money in a negative way and how witches shouldn't make money and all this crap, and that's another video. A controversial subject in witchcraft. It made me put the book down for 2 weeks. I didn't even touch it. I didn't even touch witchcraft for 2 weeks because I was so put off by it. So what I would recommend you do is start a list of all the things that you love about witchcraft, because that will be your personal craft. And you could also turn that into a spell, and I'm going to let you guys develop that and create that on your own. But just start a list. I actually have it I do focus wheels on witchcraft in my grimoire. So if you want to know how to do a focus wheel, I've done millions of focus wheels on Instagram, but I also have a video that is not public right now, but I can make it public if you want to know how to do a focus wheel, which is from Abraham Hicks. But essentially, just write down all the things that you love about the craft. And it's almost like witchcraft is a maze. It's this labyrinth, and it's your job to follow your guidance of bliss and joy and magic and power, what feels powerful, empowerment, to find your own personal signature. It's almost like finding your own personal sigil of a path in witchcraft. Ooh, man, I'm on fire. So find that path for you. Every single solitary one of us is going to have not a very different path, but every single one of us is going to have a different variation of a path through witchcraft. So that is some of my best tips that I can give to you right now, and this is how I've been doing it myself, finding my own way through witchcraft, that you can take some or leave some, doesn't even matter. I am loving your responses to these videos. So if you love this video and you want more, definitely subscribe to this channel and hit that bell for notifications. Definitely subscribe, guys. We gotta get my subscriber base back. Like, what is happening here? And oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this. My intuition is guiding me to proclaim to the world that I am going for 100,000 subscribers this year. Oh my God, did I just say that? I just said that. Oh, shit. Now I'm gonna have to do it. Damn it. I'll have to do a spell on getting 100,000, but I want 100,000 of you magical, empowered, amazing human beings. I love you so much. Again, this is my intuition speaking, but my intuition is telling me, my witch sisters beyond the veil are telling me that I am here to harvest kings and queens. That is what I'm here to do. And witchcraft just happens to be the path right now. Doesn't mean that's not going to change. It's definitely changing now into this. So, but definitely I will always be on the path of my craft. That's for dang sure. Whatever it looks like and whatever I choose to call it. But I am here to harvest kings and queens. If you are a king or a queen, or if you know deep within you that that is what you are and that is what you are becoming in the flesh, follow this channel. Hey now, we just took it there. Yes, we did. We just took it there. So share, and please let me know if you want to know anything about witchcraft. Of course, I am a baby witch, so I don't know everything, but I'm very intuitive because I am really a witch. I am really a wise one. So if you want to know anything else, make sure you ask those questions down below and let me know what you thought about this video, because I'm loving the responses. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for your presence. I'm so grateful to share my magic with you and to help you cultivate your own. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week for another video on Witch Baby Wednesdays. Bye, guys.
With a trace of the night on the way back down.